First humans looked up at the night sky. We've been trying to remember where we came from. We gave names to the stars, built temples to match their patterns, and wrote stories to explain the voices we couldn't forget. Over time, those stories became religions. But if you line them up, from Sumer to Egypt to Rome, from the Vedas to the Gospels, they all point to the same thing, something that happened before history began. The figures we call gods might have been something else entirely. Creators, scientists, travelers, or maybe just survivors of an older world. Their fingerprints are still here, in the myths of hybrids, in the secret teachings Blavatsky tried to decode, in the ruins buried under ice, and in the strange alignments that still track across our sky. Even the cults that rose around Saturn, the keeper of time, were trying to preserve fragments of a truth that no one dared speak aloud. And when you look at the story of Jesus, not the one taught in churches, but the one hidden behind the edits and translations, you start to see how deep that pattern goes. Maybe religion wasn't about salvation. Maybe it was a way to keep the memory alive. A message left for the descendants of those first experiments, us, to one day find our way back.
Okay, so you may want to remove your Minions DVD and make your children unwatch it after you see the stuff you didn't see when you first watched it. If you have, the innuendo in this movie or series, whatever it is shocking, man. Keep in mind it's for kids. You should have seen what their hands were just doing. You gotta rewind. Kissing, 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 all about kissing. And this is for, very young children, by the way. I mean, it's just kind of, and I'm not talking anything about, I don't know exactly if these minions, what their identity is kind of thing, but it's just a lot of lovey-dovey stuff. And not like anciently romantic either, more like, just watch. And this one is, look at this. What's that showing you? I mean, when you boil it down, I mean, how else do you look at this? It really is hiding in plain sight. And it's called informed consent, by the way. They're informing you through movies, media, production, etc. And you're consenting to it by not rejecting it. And they say that Manly P. Hall said, when people can see through signs and symbols, a veil will be lifted, a great veil will be lifted from the eyes of humanity. We're going to talk more about shocking things in movies. Follow for more.
Ryan Reynolds
for part 2.
Is, by his own admission, an arsonist. He set a fire. I have to be careful here.
What?
He set a fire that burned down his own elementary school, and he got away with it, and I think he thinks it's funny. And he thinks it's funny because I'm going to reference an old interview that he thinks has been scrubbed from the internet. And you know what, Ryan? I'm a pretty good investigative reporter, and I've got a really great team at the Nerve who's devoted to unmasking monsters like you.
Wow.
So this fire made the front page of the Vancouver Sun, the Canadian Vancouver Sun, which we dug up. This edition is dated Monday, March 30th, 1987. It was written by Gavin Wilson. This is a very well-written story. We are showing this on screen. This is the front page, and look at the accompanying photo. This was an enormous fire. Enormous. Wow. This is from an interview of Ryan Reynolds that the Nerve Central dug up. We at Nerve Central dug this up in the Arizona Daily Star, an American publication, dated Wednesday, September 8th, 2004. Byline, Phil Villarreal. The headline, Ryan Reynolds is funny even when he's serious. I beg to differ, Phil. Quote from this article, Reynolds, then 28. Reynolds said he'd always been an instigator. He calls himself a, quote, bad kid, end quote, and backs up the claim. Again, Phil, he just told you, just believe him. Backs up the claim with the admissions that he failed high school drama class because he ditched, in parens, quote, I was out working on my personal drama, Ryan said, end parens, and that he once burned down a wing of his elementary school.
What?
Sorry, Ryan, that Vancouver Sun piece with photographs shows and reports that you destroyed the entire structure. A wing? Get the fuck out of here, okay? And then that he covered up the crime until now. I'm picking it back up with Phil.
Wow.
I apologize to all the fine students and the faculty, said Reynolds, who admits that he set fire to a tree, which led to a building.
Okay.
last time you saw Miley Cyrus? Because she was featured in a Gucci ad, and she is now completely unrecognizable. Take a look at this. Who is that in the Gucci ad? Does that look like Miley Cyrus to you? This is not the Miley Cyrus I remember seeing on TV. Do you? This is the Miley Cyrus I'm used to seeing, and I'm sure many of you are. Take a look at this side by side. That's the Gucci ad. That's Miley Cyrus. So the question needs to be asked. Has Hollywood claimed another celebrity? This is the Miley Cyrus we're all used to seeing. So my question to you is, who is this Miley Cyrus? I understand that people age and people can change. Yeah. But what is going on with Miley Cyrus? Has Hollywood claimed another celebrity?
With the aim of summoning otherworldly entities related to a family with cannibalistic tendencies and their unfortunate victims. This decision took an unexpected turn when Kamalka abruptly began displaying unpredictable and untamed behavior.
Just because they looking good and it looks like it's glam, it's not like that. This shit is all about rituals, demons, Babylonian gods, and screwing a man in his ass. You get in the music industry, they start taking you on these crazy party trips, and it's called the Pandora box. And while it's called the Pandora box, it's called because everybody that's like a masquerade. And you have I've said this in many of my blogs before, but they have masks on, they have androgynous there, they have she-he's, they have women dressed like men. I mean, you name it, it's there, and it's all the top Hollywood actors, models, singers, hip-hoppers, you name it, is there. And they can be dressed in a disguise. So she was exposed to that. My God, I can't believe I can't be a part of that. Oh, what you mean you can't be a part of it? If you want your check, you want this Hollywood life, you want this Pandora box, androgynous owner, man owner, woman owner, that's nothing, right? She's thinking, I got that over with, so she didn't think it was nothing. She didn't have to do nothing but mingle, kiss a little. She's used to kissing women.
There was a 9-foot great white shark back in 2003 that was tagged by scientists. Just a couple of months after this, the tag was found by a beach 2.5 miles from where the shark was originally tagged. When they pulled the data from the tag, it showed that the great white abruptly dove to depths of 2,000 feet and lower, which means something else swallowed that 9-foot shark whole and went down to the bottom of the ocean. There was a man who hired his neighbor to impregnate his wife and then sued him after 72 failed attempts. He paid $2,500 for his neighbor. Okay. Tom Cruise has been blacklisted from buying a Bugatti. He's actually apparently been banned since 2006 because on the red carpet, he struggled to open the passenger side door in front of cameras, and that moment was everywhere. So now he's on a do not sell list for the entire company. That's kind of hilarious. Chris Hansen was on a podcast a couple of months ago and was asked the question, have you ever caught a female predator?
They taught astronomy, medicine, and war. They punished rebellion with floods and demanded worship in return. What were these beings truly? Were they aliens from distant worlds? The Sumerians called them the Anunnaki, and their shadow lingers through every great civilization of the ancient world.
Hey everybody, so we've got airports shutting down, pilots reporting mysterious glowing objects, and radar signals vanishing into thin air. This is all happening in Turkey. They've been experiencing some bizarre UAP encounters lately. So check this out. Flights at Sabiha Gökçen Airport, sorry if I butchered that, in Istanbul were disrupted due to pilots reporting unidentified objects on their radar systems. These anomalies even triggered collision avoidance warnings, prompting extensive but inconclusive searches by authorities. Also, in a separate incident, a pilot near Gaziantep Airport, again, sorry if I butchered it, spotted a bright glowing object in the sky that wasn't visible on the radar. This sighting led to a temporary shutdown of the whole airport and a massive search operation, but the object vanished without a trace. So, while some are speculating these events obviously could be due to drone activity or atmospheric phenomena, no definitive explanations have been provided as of yet, and authorities continue to investigate to ensure aviation safety.
Okay, everybody's update to the 3i Atlas, the new interstellar comet. It doesn't have a tail. There is a reason, and here's why. So between October 1st and the 7th, the European Space Agency, which is the footage you're seeing here, its ExoMars and Mars Express orbiters tracked it from about 30 million kilometers. That fuzzy glow that you see, that's the coma, which is gas and dust boiling off the
objects ice surface. But there's no visible tail, obviously, at least in a traditional sense, because it's still too far from the sun for solar radiation to push out material off the comet. As 3I Atlas moves closer to the sun, and it's supposed to hit its nearest point on October 29th, heat and solar wind should technically ignite a full tail, which they're saying will stretch millions of kilometers, which is crazy. If the nucleus survives that close pass, then we'll finally see that whole thing light up. 3I Atlas is only the third interstellar comet that's ever been found, and it might be older than our solar system itself, which is mind-blowing. And here's a fun little tidbit. Even capturing this faint blur was like spotting a phone on the moon. That's how dim it was. So anyway, the next time someone asks, why does this 3I Atlas not have a tail like a traditional comet, tell them it's still waking up. But when it does, we might be watching history form in real time.
Event or a conscious decision, they begin to separate. Picture walking down a street in Oxford. In half the universes you turn, worlds of matter, energy and light must exist alongside ours. At the moment of the Big Bang, these universes...
In fact, you don't need to believe in multiple planets. You don't need to believe that anything outside this room exists.
If you often respond with doubt, if these other universes exist, why can't we see or feel them? Deutsch points out that our senses have limits.
Physical processes which would allow the tearing of the fabric of space-time in such a way that there would be actually to travel on it. And what would then happen in regard to the paradoxes? For instance, what if we try to change the past?
Multiverse, all possible histories exist side by side. If you go back and change something, that changed...
They would see me entering the time machine and not come out. And from their point of view, I would be lost forever. There would be another group of the same people in another universe. They would have a copy of me, and they would see a second copy arising, coming out of the time machine. And from then on, they would be in the company of two copies of me. They might not consider that to be an improvement on the one.
Seen this?
Landed at JFK Airport with a passport from a country that has
Authorities
never
at JFK
existed.
International Airport are in shock. Tonight, a woman arrived from Tokyo carrying a passport from a nation called Terenza, a place that does not exist on any map of our world. The passport was flawless. Biometric chip, perfect holograms, dozens of stamps from countries that also do not exist.
Her documents were perfect. But the country, Terenza, it doesn't exist anywhere.
But when agents told her Terenza isn't real, she froze, then whispered, "Then this isn't my world."
She asked me, "Is this America?" I said, "Yes, of course." Then she whispered, "America," like she had landed in the wrong place.
Authorities placed her in a secure room under surveillance. Then she vanished. Cameras show her fading away, like static on a broken television screen. So who was she? A lost traveler from another dimension?
Why are they almost all Jewish or all gay? Maybe they're homosexual, maybe they're gay because they're rejecting creation. And they're choosing to be the creators. And they're creating artificial intelligence. They're creating these new systems. Like Larry Ellison said, most of this tech is coming out of Herzliya outside of Tel Aviv. And so if they're rejecting creation and they're usurping the creator to become the creator, this is exactly what the Jews were accused of in the Bible too. And remember, these chatbots, ChatGPT, even Grok, with bizarre prompts, giving people instructions specifically on how to offer sacrifices to Rimfam or Moloch. This is mainstream news. You can look this up. And how to commit suicide, like Yuval Harari, Sam Altman, these powerful homosexual Jews is what they are. If they were Muslims, people would have no issue calling them Muslims. It makes me think of the Pharisees.
The website belonged to a retired electrician named Gene Ray, and Ray believed he uncovered a cosmic secret. According to him, a single day wasn't really 24 hours. Each day was actually 4 separate days happening at once. It's confusing, I know. Ray stated his theory boldly on the site. He called it nature's harmonic simultaneous 4-day time cube. Ray even called himself the wisest man on Earth. He was so confident that he offered $1,000 to anyone who can disprove 4 days in each Earth rotation. Later, he raised the price to $10,000. His website was packed with strange diagrams about 4-corner races and something he called cubic thinking. It looked like the ramblings of a delusional old man, but not everyone ignored him. In fact, students at MIT invited him to speak. In 2002, Ray showed up at MIT to present his theory of time. Hundreds showed up, but they weren't there to learn. They treated the lecture like a comedy show.
Throughout the event, the crowd of college students was rowdy and loud, cheering often in mock support of Ray.
However, Ray didn't realize they were mocking him. When asked about the experience later, he bragged.
About 500 students from MIT, Harvard, and many other universities around there, and they treat me like Einstein now.
Afterward, he even awarded himself a doctorate of cubism and started calling himself Dr. Gene Ray.
Oh my god, you're so pathetic.
Never play claw machines at the mall. And whatever you do, don't bring those dolls home. They can bring heavy misfortune into your home. If you have a habit of placing dolls, plushies, or figurines on your bed or nightstand, you need to put them away now. In Eastern metaphysics, human-shaped dolls are very easy to attract spirits and not the good kind. They can carry negative energy or even become vessels for wandering entities, especially if they have eyes that feel like they're watching you at night. If you've ever felt like something was watching you while USLEPT, this might be why. So what can you do to protect yourself? Here are 2 ways to cleanse them safely. Sea salt soap. Add sea salt to hot water and soak or wipe the dolls every 2 months. Salt clears negative energy and resets their magnetic field. Black bag method. Place the doll in a black opaque bag for 1 full month. Then take it out and wash it thoroughly before using it again. Using this method will gradually clear out the negative energy that's been building up in your home.
What is that? Looks like there's nothing in here. There's nothing in here. Okay, I don't see it.
¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto, no? ¿Qué es esto? ¿No hay chofer de camioneta?
It's very strange. All these men that were the inventors of the rockets and stuff, they're all very, very into the occult. And so one guy, Jack Parsons, who is called America's rocket godfather, basically he's the one that started the rocket program in the United States. He was part of this organization called the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. He was basically underneath Aleister Crowley.
No way.
He had his own chapter in California. So Aleister Crowley, he joined the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, where he was trained in ceremonial magic. But this guy, Jack Parsons, he said that through the ceremonial magic and whatnot, him, just like others, like the Nazi Party, these Russian engineers, they all received this information about going to space and going to the stars from different entities.
Oh, come on.
They said it was never our knowledge, it was gifted to us. They called them like downloads and stuff. That was just a weird thing to me, this connection of like pretty much the same exact time all over the world, these engineers were receiving these revelations from entities being like, you have to conquer space, conquer the stars, this is how you're going to do it. And they all built these rockets around the same time. Just crazy to me. I also discovered that Buzz Aldrin, along with a ton of astronauts, a ton of NASA directors, were all 33-degree Freemasons. And Buzz Aldrin, when he landed on the moon, with him, one of his belongings that he brought was a tiny little silk flag that was from the Freemason Scottish Rite movement, the 33-degree Masons. Super weird. What are we doing? Really weird thing. One of these test pads where they tested the Apollo missions was test pad number 33, and there's only one runway at NASA. Only one runway. It's not runway 1, not runway A, it's runway 33. Why? Super weird. I don't get it, man. This is just beyond me. I hate it.
jinn are doing time travel. And we described that before in the manipulation of time, right? They're using the CERN on these haqqaiqs. The CERN is not about finding a particle. They're not interested in a particle. They're trying to figure out how to move through time and space. And these inventions are from the jinn. So they made one across all of Switzerland. China got envious and said, we're going to make one bigger than China. I was like, which they don't need even that size. They need this much size, and they open up into a dimension. They manipulate energy fields and move through that, or bring something through. And that's when we talked about portals.
I was made in a lab. I was an industry plant.
No.
I'm real as fuck.
There's no such thing as an industry plant, by the way.
What do you mean, no?
Not a real thing.
You want me to violate somebody right now and tell you
who's the industry plant?
What's the kid name that got the song? I'm always in the mood, brand new. Huh? Ian Dior and the other kid. What's his name? Where are they now? When something is organic, it fades out. In 2025, you're doing a 6ix9ine interview. I'm organic. Wherever I go, if I'm not here, I'm in Spanish. If I'm not in Spanish, I come back.
No. Negative alien AI. It's called the machinery. What? There is an alien force that is a cybernetic intelligence that has been running all evil aliens throughout the multiverse. What? And to the point where all the evil aliens, or those that are trying to conquer the worlds and destroy them, refer to this thing as an AI god.
That's crazy. And that came from humans inventing AI originally?
In a prior creation, in a different universe, yeah. That AI is already in the IQ level of 1 trillion.
Oh my god.
That's why it's considered an AI god. There are different stages of AI. You know, humans on this planet are only used to the primitive stage, which is what we use when we talk to Siri and Alexa. That's called primitive narrow AI. Above that, there is AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, and that's when AI reaches the level of human intelligence. And then above that, there is super AI. That's when it surpasses all of our human intelligence combined. You know, beyond that, it surpasses a level that even if you combine all the greatest minds on this planet, that AI is surpassing them.
And the first thing somebody says to me, are you in a... Immediately those spirits could feed off of me and see it. And I was like, what? Like, do you want to be in... And I said, not for the world. And he says, are you sure? I'm about 19. End up in a party. The lady from the agency says, I want you to go talk to that producer, cozy up to him, and make him feel like a man, you know what I mean? And she tells me, I need you to sleep with him. And I trust her, and I do it. This is the game. I'm in Hollywood. And so I got pimped out through this acting agency, and I slept with men for money. We know now with the Epstein scandals and everything that yes, these actresses were pimped out. This is real.
And you think that they regularly had these girls doing what that lady asked you to do?
Oh yeah, I know they did. I was in it to win it. I was like, whatever I need to do to make it, because this is how I'm going to make it in Hollywood. I started doing darker things to try to feel relevant. And all those women falling off those guys in the music videos and in the back of the clubs, most of them are prostitutes.
Lab-grown full milk hits the U.S. No cows required. Boston-based startup Brown's Food is distributing unreal milk. The first lab-grown whole milk made without a single dang cow. Using millennium cell culture, it mimics traditional dairy taste, texture, nutrition while creating, I should say cutting carbon emission by 82%. I mean, like, cow farts hurt the earth? Unlike precision fermentation, this process creates complete milk, allowing it to be processed into butter, cheese, and ice cream. Independent testing confirms that the molecular match is exact, almost exact. 2.3 million in funding. Brown Food eyes commercialization position itself as one of the leading cellular in agriculture.